Deep down, in moments when the applause of the crowd is unnecessary, something truly special is born. This feeling doesn't cry out for attention, doesn't strive for external demonstration. It rests quietly in the chest like an unfading ember that won't flicker even under the gusts of a strong wind. Unfortunately, most people never experience this feeling, preferring to live for the fleeting glances of strangers and the fickle opinions influenced by every new rumor. They measure their worth by reflections in other people's mirrors, striving for praise and envy from those around them, thereby condemning themselves to slavish dependence on the external world. These people say what they think others will like. They adapt to other people's expectations just to be accepted, and they are willing to burn to the ground, supporting other people's lights, intended for those who disappear as soon as the smoke dissipates. The Stoics, watching this endless noise of the world, would only smile condescendingly, as they once smiled at Rome. Marcus Aurelius, the great Roman emperor, once remarked, "I am constantly amazed by how we all love ourselves more than other people, but at the same time care more about their opinion than our own." This man ruled a vast empire, endured the loss of children, faced betrayal from loved ones, and commanded armies. And yet, he went down in history thanks to this simple but profound truth. Even the strongest crumble when they depend too much on the external world. It is worth considering that every fear of other people's condemnation is like chains with which a person fetters their mind, limiting freedom of thought and self-expression. Whenever an individual distorts their truth, fearing being misunderstood, they sacrifice a piece of their personality for the fleeting feeling of comfort from those around them. However, this feeling of well-being disappears immediately after the end of communication. It often happens that people hold back their words when it is necessary to speak directly and openly. They are willing to compromise with themselves for the sake of those who are not able to offer them reliable support in return. A person remains silent even when an inner voice urges them to speak, just so as not to disturb the established perception of them in others. But where are these people now? Did they stay close in difficult times? Did they support them when the burden of responsibility became unbearable? Did they think about the person as deeply as they rethink their possible judgments, spending sleepless nights? Most likely not. After all, everyone is absorbed in their own fears and worries about what impression they make on others. This is the paradox. Everyone is so concerned about how they look in the eyes of others that they are not able to dwell on other people's shortcomings for long. Their attention is scattered, and they switch to their own concerns, not lingering long on other people's weaknesses. As Seneca insightfully noted, our sufferings often stem not from real events, but from the dark corners of our imagination. We tend to overestimate the importance of other people's opinions, believing that they will live on for centuries. However, as a rule, by evening we are already forgotten. But we, in turn, clearly remember every instance when we've betrayed our own convictions, striving to conform to other people's ideas. Hence the first and important lesson: there is no need to strive at all costs to belong to any group. The Stoics never followed public opinion. They found enough value in communicating with themselves to realize that the only company that really matters is the one that does not disturb their peace of mind. If in order to be accepted it is necessary to pretend and play a role, then this is not acceptance, but merely hypocrisy. And hypocrisy, like rust, corrodes the personality from within. Secondly, one should learn to speak less. Every extra word is a kind of promise given to the external world. The more we explain, the more we become attached to stories that are beyond our control. Zeno, the founder of Stoicism, argued that silence is an impregnable wall protecting us from fools. It is worth trying to apply this principle in practice. Let others guess about our thoughts and intentions. Let them fill in the gaps with their own speculation. The moment we stop justifying ourselves and explaining our actions, we stop giving other people the opportunity to paint our portrait as they see fit. Thirdly, it is necessary to prepare for the inevitable misunderstanding from others. If an individual is not able to withstand situations when their ideas do not resonate, they risk spending their entire life concealing their true beliefs so that they correspond to the level of thinking of the most limited person in their environment. The Stoic philosophers were well aware that public opinion is an ephemeral phenomenon. Today, a person is praised, and tomorrow they are forgotten. Aristotle clearly expressed this thought. To avoid criticism, one should refrain from words, actions, and not manifest oneself at all. Therefore, one should not be afraid of criticism. Let ill-wishers interpret silence as arrogance, strength as indifference, and calmness as detachment. Let them say whatever they want. While they waste time on idle talk, one should continue to work, breathe deeply, and protect one's reputation from other people's attacks. Fourthly, it is important to curb the thirst for praise. It is easy to succumb to temptation and believe that you are not striving for approval, especially if you do not beg for compliments. However, it is necessary to carefully monitor your thoughts at moments when someone expresses admiration. Does the ego swell with pride? Does the desire to receive even more praise arise? This is another form of dependence. Epictetus said, "If you want to improve, be prepared to be considered foolish and ignorant." Is a person able to maintain calm and discipline while others mock what they do not understand? An individual who needs praise is still dependent on the opinion of the same world that shames them. Praise and censure are two sides of the same coin. The Stoic does not attach importance to either. Fifthly, it is necessary to cultivate the art of solitude. Paradoxically, most people feel uncomfortable alone because they are deprived of the usual audience for self-expression. However, this is the real test. It is important to learn to spend time alone with yourself, feeling your own significance and weight. It is necessary to ask yourself, how comfortable is it to be in your own company when no one is watching? The reflections of Marcus Aurelius, captured on the pages of his works, remind us that the thoughts and judgments of other people should not become a burden. Every person has power over their mind and not over external circumstances. Realizing this fact is the key to finding inner strength. True strength is formed in the silence of empty rooms in the early morning hours, when the phone is still silent, when there is no applause, no attention, no interested glances. That is why this strength is genuine. So, what remains in the end? The desire for universal respect must give way to independence from other people's love. The desire to be heard requires abandoning the cry. The desire to hold others requires the ability to let go. A person who remains calm in any situation always wins because they cannot be unbalanced. No rumors can shake their confidence. Praise does not elevate them higher than they really are. Censure does not hurt them deeper than they allow. To stop worrying about other people's opinions, you do not need to engage in open combat. You just need to stop considering these people responsible for your peace of mind. It is necessary to take a firm stand, remain steadfast, and watch as the noise rages around like the wind blowing over a rock. After all, the world remembers the noise only for a moment and calmness for generations. One should strive for peace and quiet, feeling like you do not belong to anything, allowing other people's thoughts to fly by, like dust, unable to settle on a mind that firmly knows who it is. It is important to remember this. When the noise rises, a person's value is not determined by other people's words. It lives deep inside, untouched by either praise or doubt. It is necessary to keep this silence, like a blade that will not be dulled by other people's conversations. Let others not understand. Let them make up their own stories and walk in circles, trying to measure someone they cannot move. It is important to remain calm, stable, and yourself. And when the world gets tired, the person will still stand, being a quiet proof that freedom never depended on other people's approval, but only on a spine that remains unbent when they try to bend it. Ultimately, all the noise subsides, but the mind that has mastered itself survives every careless word. You need to strive to be such a mind, to be the calmness that storms remember, to stand so still that chaos breaks against the person and does not find anything to cling to. And when they ask how it was done, you do not need to say anything. Let silence remind others where true power lives,